Good afternoon, everyone. I'm County Commissioner Les Miller, Chairman of the County Commission and Chair of the Emergency Policy Group. I want to thank you all for being here. The Emergency Policy Group met today virtually at 1:30 to work on a Stay Home Safe, I think that's what it's called.
Safer at home.
Safer at home, I'll get it right in a minute, that we can do throughout this entire county. The one thing that I wanted to say when I was talking to the mayor and Mike Merrill was that we had our differences and we had our armor on, but it was time to lay the armor aside and extend the olive branch and try to work something out that we can keep every person in this county, whether they live in Tampa or Plant City or Temple Terrace or unincorporated county, everyone's safe. This is a deadly virus that's going on, and the first thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we protect everyone in this county, and that was our main objective, is to protect everyone and keep everyone safe. And today we put together a directive that's going to be put together by Mr. Merrill and the county attorneys and the city attorneys and all the attorneys to put this together. And tomorrow at 1:30, we will come back together as a emergency policy group and take a vote and make it effective. And we continue to get that together on Friday night at 10 p.m. There are a lot of logistics in place that Mr. Merrill will probably talk about when he comes up. We want to make sure that every person in this county, everyone, is protected and safe. There are a lot of people out there that are afraid. There are a lot of people that are scared, and we don't want that happen that way. We want them not to get complacent in what's going on. People are sick with this virus. People are in dire needs right now. But we want to make sure that we allow people to go to work. If they have to go to work, we ask them to stay at home preferably. But if you can't, go to work. But make sure you're 6 feet apart and no more than 10 in that job. And the curfews we put into place, but I won't take Mr. Merrill's thunder and let him do that. So I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Castor.
Thank you, Chairman Miller. As he stated, everyone's concern is for the safety of our community. We are all in uncharted waters here with this COVID-19. It is spreading very, very swiftly. As we all know, individuals can be walking around with the virus and have no idea, therefore transmitting to other individuals that are in close contact with them. As we have said all along, this is a very, very serious virus, but one of the issues that is most concerning about it is the ease with which it is transmitted. And so that's why we are looking at the Emergency Policy Group to have a safer at home order issued. Now, these are just different iterations. It is the same concept with different names. First, shelter at home, there was a connotation that had with active shooter. So we started defining as a stay at home, and now it's safer at home. Many jurisdictions have passed that here in the state of Florida. I personally have been on the phone with the mayor of Orlando, mayor of St. Petersburg, looking at the jurisdictions along the I-4 corridor. Orlando and Orange County, and I believe Osceola passed safer at home orders yesterday. Pinellas County and St. Petersburg did today. Miami issued a stay in place order last night at midnight. And so the larger urban areas in our state are what we live in one of those, and we are focusing on that because we have individuals in close proximity. So a lot of questions are about the safer at home, and we are trying to make it as simple as possible for everyone to understand. You will still be able to move about as long as you are staying 6 feet away from individuals. And that is the rule. There are a lot of exceptions for essential service provision that we have all seen that list that has come out of the Office of Homeland Security. What we are saying is that we are asking everyone to stay at home and work from home if any way possible. If that is not possible and you provide an essential service, as long as you can stay 6 feet away from other individuals, then you can perform that service. But again, we're asking everyone to stay at home as much as possible, and then if you have to go out for any reason, stay 6 feet away from individuals. Now, the Safer at Home order that we're looking at for Hillsborough County also has a curfew concept in that. So looking at having a curfew at the nighttime hours from 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night until 5 a.m., and that will allow law enforcement to have a more of an ability to enforce individuals that are out, that are in violation. A lot of questions come up about the enforcement of this. We are asking people to understand their personal responsibility and the significance that their actions may have on the health of our community. So this isn't something that individuals should be asking, well, how is a police officer or a sheriff's deputy going to enforce this? You should be willingly cooperating with these orders for everyone's safety, not just your own, but the entire community. And law enforcement is going to look at education and encouragement first and foremost. So enforcement shouldn't be an issue on anyone's mind. What they should be concerned about is ensuring that they don't contract this virus and they don't transmit it to anyone else. We did have a police officer today that tested positive for the virus, and so we are dealing with that as we speak. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to the County Administrator, Mike Merrill, and then we can open it up for questions. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Commissioner Miller really did summarize things quite well. I don't really have that much to add. There is an important component, though, and that is they both talked about the need to have essential services open and companies that provide essential services. There's a very, very long list if you look at the Homeland Security guidance. So those companies are important to our economy, and they will be held responsible. The managers and CEOs of those essential companies will be held responsible to be sure that, first of all, anybody who works for them that can telecommute must telecommute. If that's not possible, those who have to work on site must have the protections that they need to stay safe. That will be enforced with fines and penalties. We take this very seriously. For the rest of the workforce, and we're obviously trying to balance the priority of keeping people healthy with maintaining an economy that we're not going to suffer with later. So it's pretty clear, if you think of it this way, we can all think of businesses where it's impossible for the person doing the work to keep 6 feet away from the customer. Those just that service can no longer be provided. If someone cannot telecommute, if they're not an essential business, they can't telecommute, but they must work for some reason, again, they have to maintain all of the mitigation, the physical distancing, and so forth. So there is some flex in this, as the mayor said. There's going to be an education component, but the most important thing is keeping people safe. We've added another component to this, which is directing that any of our companies here in Hillsborough County who provide essential products and services, food, medical, they need primarily to focus their production and manufacturing on keeping this county safe. It doesn't mean they forego their other opportunities and responsibilities to market their products, but we know what the situation looks like. The scarcities of protection equipment, the scarcities of medical equipment, the scarcities that we don't want to see happen here. We have a number of very innovative, very strong companies in this community. We're asking them to help us focus our energy here before we start focusing elsewhere. So with that, I guess we'll take any questions at this point.
Before we take the questions, I want to thank the EPG, the Emergency Policy Group, because it took all of us to come together to make this work. I want to thank Vice Chair of the County Commission, Commissioner Overman and Commissioner Merman, the Mayor of the City of Tampa, Mayor Castor, Mayor Lott from Plant City, Vice Mayor Ross from Temple Terrace, the Chair of the School Board, Ms. Snively, and Sheriff Cronus for all the work that they did to do this, put this in place today, and we'll get back tomorrow to vote on it and put it in place. So we'll open up for any questions.
Yes, can you talk a little bit about the curfew? People wanting to know what that entails, curfew.
Mr. Mayor, you want to address the curfew part of that?
As Mayor Castor said, there's two pieces to this. One is the curfew, the other is the safe at home. So the curfew during the week, in order to allow people to get to work and take care of necessities, the curfew during the week runs from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. On the weekends, it runs from 10 p.m. on Friday until 5 p.m. Monday morning. 5 a.m. Monday morning, sorry. So the idea is that we really need to encourage and keep people focused on maintaining safe distances, but yet the curfews allow people to take care of necessities, get food, get medicine. It allows people to recreate, to ride their bike, walk their dog, do what they need to do, but to maintain safe distances. But the curfew adds that extra component to it of, in the eventuality it needs to be enforced, we can enforce it. But initially it will be education, it will be forbearance, but we have that serious hammer behind it. So that's the way we're intending the curfew to work. And again, the curfew also, the order, when you see it, or it's already out there, also lists essential services that would be exempt from the curfew, as I mentioned, those businesses that have to stay open because they're essential. Does that answer? Yeah.
And then the essential businesses, can you go over some, I mean, obviously the medical industry.
Yeah. It's a very, very, very long list. I mean, it's almost anything you can think of. It's transportation needs, it's workers who need to repair and take care of electrical, communications, it's veterinarians, it's a whole host of things. That in the materials that were delivered to the EPG today, there is a copy of the Homeland Security guidance list, and the best thing would be to look at that. It encompasses a lot of businesses.
Yes. We just received that information, so it is a Tampa police officer, but the specific details of that will come out later. The chief of police will relay that to the media.
As mayor, can you speak to your reaction to getting that news that so many women are putting their lives on the line?
Well, I think it goes back to, I'm so proud of our city employees, as I know Mike and Les are very proud of all of the county employees as well, that are out there working every day to provide those services. A lot of people look at the essential services as law enforcement and firefighters and paramedics out there on the line, but you have to think about individuals that are working to make sure that your water is clean, making sure that garbage is picked up every day, doing everything that they can to keep this community moving, driving buses so that individuals can get to doctor's appointments or locations that they need to be. And those individuals are essential, and they're really putting their health on the line. And that's why when we say we want you to stay home for us so we can be there for you, we want citizens to take that seriously, because these officers are going home to their families, and if they contract the virus, then they're taking that home to their families as well.
Mayor Castor, what would you have been prepared to do as mayor to keep the city safe had the county not been able to reach this compromise today?
Well, I don't really see any point in looking backwards when we have so much to deal with in front of us. I am just glad that the emergency policy group has tentatively agreed to this. Now, nothing has been etched in stone. We, clearly with the sunshine laws, everyone received this information today, and so we will fine tune that through all of the attorneys and then vote on it tomorrow. So it's not been etched in stone, but we have so many issues to focus on in our community, and it's going to take every single one of us working together to be able to get through this.
I went to a meeting a few weeks ago and the administrator proposed a curfew, and the group said that the city was ready, that the county wasn't ready, that they were going to set up a plan to put the curfew. And then today, it's still not ready, there's no plan. What do you say to people that are asking why it's taking so long? If they say a few weeks ago that they would have a plan.
Well, I don't know about a few weeks ago. We just the first I heard of it was on Monday, and last Thursday, and Monday, and this is Wednesday. All of my days are running apart. Okay, I'll let Mike Merrill discuss that.
No, part of the package that was delivered to the each EPG today was the curfew order. So we did deliver it today, and they'll act on it tomorrow. Pardon me?
Why not today? Why is it taking so long?
Because now that we have both pieces to the plan, we have a curfew and a safe at home. They have to work together. So instead of acting on the curfew today by itself, we'll bring it back tomorrow, act on both of them, and be ready to go.
Going back to Monday, there were some concerns about the effectiveness of enacting a safer style order only on the local level. And I know you said you addressed other urban areas. What about our other neighboring counties like Castor? Have there been conversations with those governments?
There have been conversations with Pasco. I haven't personally had those. I have been talking to mayors in cities, Francis Suarez in Miami, and as I said, Orlando, St. Petersburg, and many others. We have U.S. Conference of Mayors, and we have frequent conference calls. But I did receive, which I'm sure the county did as well, was an invitation for a virtual meeting from Pasco County. But we have Pinellas, we have Hillsborough on board now, and hopefully we will get the surrounding counties as well.
Mayor, I know you said this about public education in terms of enforcement, but if people don't comply, what will be the order? Is it still a second-degree misdemeanor?
That is all going to be, it has to be finalized tomorrow. So it'll all be finalized tomorrow.
Will there be a penalty with possible jail time?
It depends on what the EPG decides. You know, we have to decide as a group. But again, I don't think that we should focus on that at all. Everyone needs to understand that this can ultimately be a life and death situation. So they need to understand their personal responsibility. They need to take it seriously and do everything in their power to avoid contracting or transmitting this virus to others in our community.
How is this compromised different than your order? What is the addition of the curfew? Is that any different from what you were planning to do on your own?
Yes, I mean, there's differences in it, but yes, it has the curfew component, and it has some other components that weren't in the stay-at-home order that we had compiled. But we've shared those documents among the attorneys' offices, and they're also looking at others. Orlando, Orange County have a safer at home curfew order similar to what we're looking at. And so, you know, we're looking at all of that information while understanding the speed with which we need to work to get something enacted. In the meantime, everyone needs to follow the simple rules that we have been over and over again.
I know that there are people out there that are concerned about the word curfew, and I don't think any Tampa Police Department, Temple Terrace, Plant City, or the sheriff will be running around trying to put people in jail because they might break the curfew. That is not the intent of this. The intent of this is that if there's some people out there that are not following the 10 people together or the 6-foot rule, they're out there doing whatever they want to do. They're just going to ask them to please disperse, go home. We're going to educate them as much as we possibly can, and understand this is about saving lives. That's the most important thing. Forget the word curfew. Think about saving lives, including your own. That's the most important thing about this whole concept we're putting together. And we all came together with what the mayor had and what Mr. Merrill was putting together and what we all came together on. That's the most important thing, saving lives.
How important is it that all the cities and counties use the same term, safer at home? You know, early on, some of the cities use a different term.
I don't know. You know, it's all in the semantics, and really, it's the uniformity of it is good. The fact that everyone is following the Homeland Security guidelines, I think that that is important. It gives the citizens a little more comfort. But again, you know, instead of getting down into the weeds of those particular essential services, if you can, as Mike Merrill said, work from home, work from home. And if there's no way possible to do that, and what you provide is an essential service, then you need to be able to stay 6 feet away from others. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.